Alright, so now we're going to talk about how to find the degree of the polynomial, the leading term, and the leading coefficients. This first example is 6x squared y to the fifth plus 5x y to the third. Now the first thing that we want to do is we want to find the degree of each term, and to do that we're going to add the exponents for each term individually. Right? So on this first term we have 6x squared y to the fifth. If we add 2 plus 5, we see that the degree of this term is 7. I'm just going to put a little 7 there so that we know it's there. For the next one we have 5x y to the third. So this x does have a degree of 1. So when we add 1 and 3, that gives this term a degree of 4. To figure out the degree of the polynomial, we're going to take the largest of the degrees of the terms. So since 7 is the larger of the two degrees of the terms, the degree of our polynomial is going to be 7. Alright, so the degree is 7. Now, this helps us find our leading terms and our leading coefficients. So that is going to be 6x squared y to the fifth. Now, to find the leading coefficient, that's just the coefficient of your leading terms, so it's going to be 6. Right, in our next example, we have 7x to the third y minus 8x to the fourth y squared. So we're going to do the same thing we did in the last problem. The first thing we're going to do is find the degree of each term. So if we add 3 plus 1, we see that this degree of this term is 4. For negative 8x to the fourth y squared, the degree of that term, if we add 4 plus 2, is going to be 6. So we see that our degree of the polynomial then is 6. Now, to find our leading term, once again, that's just the term with the highest degree, but we're going to include the negative on this, right? That's very important that we do that. So our term is negative 8x to the fourth y squared. And our leading coefficient, that's just the coefficient that is associated with our leading term. So it's going to be negative 8. As you can see, our leading term may not always be the first term that's in the polynomial. For our last example, we have 6x squared y to the third plus 18x to the fifth y to the seventh minus 5xy. We're going to do the same thing we've been doing. So let's figure out the degrees of each term. If we add our exponents, 2 plus 3, that's going to give us 5 for this first term. Our second term, we're going to add 5 plus 7, and that's going to give us 12. And then our third term, we're going to add 1 plus 1, that's going to give us 2. So as we can see, the highest number out of these three is going to be 12. And so our degree of the polynomial is 12. Our leading term is 18x to the fifth y to the seventh, and our leading coefficient is 18. All right, that's all for this section.